Hi you guys. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about the cameras and the video equipment that I use and how to shoot a cooking video. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I've made a cooking video of how to make a cooking video. And a lot of you guys wanted more information. It was pretty general. I did it intentionally because I didn't know if you guys were interested in something like that. And it turns out you guys are. So what I'm going to do is talk about my cameras, the equipment, the lighting, all that stuff, and how to shoot a cooking video. And hopefully I can get it into one video. So please, stick to the end of the video. Hi you guys, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, I would like to take the time out to say welcome and hope to see you again and again. Okay, we're going to talk strictly cameras only. So you can shoot any cooking video with any camera you have, pretty much. Well, except for this one here, okay? You can't shoot video with this, right? So I know I'm going to get some wise guy. Can I shoot a video with a Polaroid? No, you can't. Now, I know I got a lot of stuff here. Don't be intimidated by this stuff. All you need really is this. This is what I started out with first. These cell phones nowadays shoot really good video. And better yet, if you have two cell phones, it's even better because then you get, two different angles. So if you got a cell phone, you can definitely shoot cooking videos. The other thing too is you don't have to have cell phone service for the camera for it to work. So if you have an extra cell phone or an old one, you could still use it to shoot video. You don't need cell phone service. Okay, so set this aside. Now, the next camera you can get is one of these. These cost about, 70 to 100 bucks. They're probably even cheaper nowadays. This is waterproof. It doesn't have to be waterproof. This also shoots 1080p. And, as long as it has a card, you can use one of these. You can use this in conjunction with your cell phone. You can find these at pawn shops really cheap. So now, once you're ready to move up into a better camera, you may say, man, these cameras can be really expensive. But if you think about it, if you really want to get into this, how many mogas do you buy a day? You add that up, $6-7 a day, maybe twice a day. At the end of the month, you got some money to buy a camera, and that's kind of pretty much what I did. The next camera that I got was this one here. It's a Sony Handycam. This thing, to this day, I still use, believe it or not, I still use this today. I bought, the camera I'm shooting right now is a Lumix GH3, which is a really good camera. At the time when I wanted one, they were like 1,500 bucks, but the price has dropped down on these and you can pick them up for like 300 or 400 bucks. I know that's a lot of money, but if you really want to get into making cooking videos, you really need a good camera. You don't have to get it, but that would be the next camera I would recommend that you get. But still, these Handycams really work really good. Of course, it's got this flip thing so you can see, the picture and stuff. And like I was showing you earlier, it's got the card. If you can get extra batteries, that'd even be better. Now let's see, this one here is it's a Sony Handycam and it's a HDR XR150. So I'll write that down in the description so you guys can check these out. You can buy these at a pawn shop. Now, the next one that I got was this one. It's pretty much the same thing. These cameras are pretty good. You can pick this one up for about 100 bucks. This one here you can pick up for 100 to 200 bucks. This one here is a little better, a little heavier. This one shoots more of a wide angle. You get a macro conversion in there, which means that you can get, more close-up shots. I'm still trying to, get used to using this at a different angle, but this is another camera that you can buy. And this is a Sony Handycam HDR CX 500. So this is one. Now, if you're going to get a camera like this and you got a little money, make sure, if you can, don't have to, get one that you can plug a mic right into it. That way you don't have to buy a separate recorder. And we'll get into the recorders later. The next thing I got was this Lumix GF1. It's just another little camera I picked up for 75 bucks. This has the screen in the back so you can see. It shoots, you know, okay video. I think it's a 12 megapixel on this one. And so, you know, I'm having a lot of fun with this. Okay, the next camera that I got is this little GoPro look-alike, so to speak. It shoots 4K. And you don't need 4K. You can shoot 1080p on this still. I don't shoot 4K. But this thing is only like 40 bucks, and the stuff they give you with it, of course it comes from China, and you know, a couple of batteries, the charger, the little adapters. I seen one guy make this little, you know, you screw on the bottom and you bite into it for when you're cooking, you know, the camera's here. You know, I guess you can get the little strap that goes in your head, I don't know. But anyway, so I got one of these for like 40 bucks. Now, we'll get into the lenses here next, but essentially that's all, you know, that I have. Okay, the last camera I have is the one that I'm shooting with. I'll just show you a picture of that. You can go on YouTube and find out a lot of information about the Lumix GH3. They had when I first wanted one, they had a GH2. Those were hard to find. Now you can pick those up for about 200 bucks. Those are still good cameras. But the GH3, the autofocus is a lot better. I'm shooting manual focus on this one here today. But the autofocus is really good. You can shoot some really good video with this camera. So that's the GH3. They also make a GH4, and now there's a GH5, and of course those two also shoot 4K. This one doesn't shoot 4K, don't need it. It shoots 1080, and it does a really good job. And the camera that, you know, is up there right now runs about, you can pick those up for anywhere. I've seen them as low as 200 bucks without the lens. Around 300 bucks with the lens. So this is a really good camera. Okay, now we're going to talk about lenses. These cameras here, it already comes with a fixed lens, meaning you can't take it off. Now there's some adapters you can put on there for filters on here for polarization and all that good stuff if you want. But these lenses here, you know, you can't, you know, remove them to change them. Okay, on this camera here, it's my GF1. The lens you can remove, obviously. This one here is kind of a zoom lens. If you can see, you open it and it comes out, right? Goes back in. This one here is a 12-32, and it gets you more of a wide angle type of a shot with this lens. The other lens that I have is a 14-45. This is also a Lumix lens, Panasonic, and it's also a zoom lens, as you can see. I use this also. And the one that I'm using right now is a 20 millimeter lens, and of course you can see what results you get with that lens. That's a prime lens. That's probably my best lens. The reason why it's a prime lens is because it's not a zoom lens. It's a 20 millimeter, which on a micro four thirds converts really into, if you had a Canon, a 40 millimeter. So the thing about these Lumix cameras, these micro four thirds, they're smaller. A lot of these Canon cameras, they're big, bulky, and heavy, and you get the bigger lens. These lenses are half the size of a Canon lens. So if you go outside or you like working with cameras a lot, some people love the Canons. I myself have been sold on Panasonic Lumix because they're smaller cameras, about half the size, half the weight. So if you're out about shooting pictures or videos, you're not carrying this big bulky camera with you. So again, it's a 20 millimeter that I'm shooting here. And again, with this lens here right now, I'm shooting manual focus, so it's not autofocus. It'll do autofocusing, but I've got it turned off because I'm just doing that today. Another thing I wanted to mention is the reason why I got this GF1 is, number one, it's really light and small. I can take it with me anywhere. And you know, if you're going to go out for a ride or a sunny drive, you want to take some pictures of some stuff we saw, or you know, vacation, whatever. It's small and light, compact, as opposed to my GH3, which is half the size of a Canon camera. So this is even smaller. The point that I wanted to make was that I can interchange these lenses between this camera and that camera. So if I'm not having to dedicate lenses to a particular camera. So when you're buying your camera, think about if you're going to have a second camera with you. You know, you can either buy another, you know, 2 GH3s, or you can buy another, you know, same product line, Panasonic Lumix, micro four thirds, and you can interchange the lenses between your cameras. So that's another thing why I bought this camera. So now you see these two lenses here. These are just some things that I had picked up. These are called B4 lenses, and these are professional studio camera lenses. These used to have a big old camera in the back, you know, and this would, you know, obviously be the lens for it. It has the trigger here for zooming in and out. And so this is one of them. Just out of curiosity, if you guys want, for those that want to know what kind of lens this is a Canon VJ17X 95BK12U CCD 17X. So this is a great camera. You can buy it for my camera. I bought an adapter that'll fit into my, you know, the camera that I'm shooting now, and of course I put that on a tripod with this and have some fun with it. I also picked this one up. Oh, by the way, these lenses go anywhere from $1,500 to, you can find some for about $300 that are pretty thrashed. I happened to find this one, and I think it was in Canada, you know, on eBay for, I think I paid like $45 for it. But they're not cheap. I just happened to be lucky with that one. Same thing with this one. This is a smaller one. It's a B4 lens. This one happens to be a S14X 7.5 BRM-4, and this is a Fujian lens. Okay, these also are very expensive. Again, anywhere from $3,000 to, you know, $400, depending on who knows what it is. If they're selling on eBay, some people don't know what these lenses are because the cameras are old, right? And they got rid of the camera because, you know, now they're smaller and more, you know, they're digital cameras really. But the lenses, you know, it's still glass, you know, you still got the metal, it still operates the same way, you know, pretty much. And you can still use these lenses. I don't use these in any of the videos that I do, but I'm having some fun with it, doing some experimentation. You don't need these lenses. The thing about this lens, last thing, is that you can have the camera on a tripod and zoom here with your finger, but if you find one, these things aren't cheap either. This screws onto the tripod. This is the pistol grip. So I don't know if you've seen studio cameramen do this. So anyway, I just want to show off some lenses that I had, but that's pretty much the lenses that I have for shooting, or I should say these are the lenses that I've purchased myself. But essentially all I'm using is these three lenses. The one that the 20 millimeter that I have here, 14-45. This is a kit lens. This is not, you know, a really great lens, but it works. It also has the switch here for so, you know, if you shake it and stuff, this helps keep your image stable. And this one here is the 12-32 for more of a close-up shot. But all these cameras I pretty much use off and on. Believe it or not, I do a lot of video with a cell phone still, and I still use this at least 40% of the time. But I'm again, this camera that I have right now is new, and I'm trying to use it more and more because I'm learning just like you guys. So next, we're going to talk about tripods. Tripods. Well, let me show you the one that I'm currently using right now. I'm going to use this camera and video it and talk at the same time. And then I'll switch over to this one here. You'll see the quality and difference here. It's not super bad, but it's not as good as that one there. So this is the tripod I'm using now, and it's got, I don't know if you can tell. Let me turn the light here so you can see a little better. I mean, hopefully you can see a little bit. It's got a ball on top of it, so you can swivel it pretty much. That's the camera there. You can see how it's set up. This is a Bogan, which I'm not too sure if Manphoto owns it or not, or they work with them, but this is an old one. I picked this thing up for 20 bucks, and it's well worth it. You can see the type of way it extends there. So I just got that kind of, the one that I just go to. Believe it or not, I've got about 15, 20 tripods for various reasons and uses. So don't be afraid if you see a tripod, pick it up. You never know, you might need it, from small ones to big ones. Okay, I guess we're set up with the tripods now. We're going to talk about tripods. Now, I believe that you can never have too many tripods. Each tripod, you know, it's like, it serves a different function. If you're starting out, what you want is get something like this, a real cheap tripod. You can pick them up anywhere from 10 bucks to 25 bucks. This one here I got at Walmart. I think I paid like 18 bucks for it. And you want it to rise up at least about 6 feet or so. That way you can come down. If you're just going to shoot a basic video, you're going to come down and, you know, obviously shoot this way. That's the basic shot. So you're going to need at least one of these, okay? And then if you got 2 cameras or 2 cell phones, or a camera and a cell phone, you're going to want something like this, you know, just a little tripod. And that way you can set it. If it's too low, you can put some books, whatever. That way you get that shot coming across this way, and you could be, you know, at night. When I'm shooting video, I'm talking like a clock. Here's a clock here. Here's 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, right? So at 9 o'clock, you can get that shot. You can come here at 10 o'clock, you get the shot this way, which is another cool one. You can do one at 2 o'clock, one at 3 o'clock. Whatever, you know, whatever you desire, you could do with something like this. So you're going to have this one and this one. I would say these are the 2 bare minimums. If you can't afford, or you don't have another camera or cell phone, you know, just use this up in front, and you can move it around, you know, in between your cooking to get some more variety of shots, so to speak. So if you got this and this, okay, the next thing you want to talk about, well, before I go on to the next thing, one of the things you want to think about when you're buying a tripod is that don't get one that has this removable bracket here that, you know, you screw on the bottom of the camera, and it's sort of like a quick release plate, I think is what they call it. And then you put it in here and snaps in. That way you can unsnap it and go. I never have good luck with these because I lose them. So if you do buy one, get one and find out the name brand, go online and buy 2 of them. These little plates can run anywhere from 2 bucks to 10 bucks on up. Get some, because trust me, you're going to lose it. So try not to get one. If you can, get a tripod like this. This one's, you know, aluminum, light aluminum and plastic. You know, it's going to last you a few years. But this one here is made out of metal, aluminum, and it's got aluminum fittings here, you know, to tighten up, to raise and lower the legs here. And this one here is, you know, it's the typical, you know, it's got a screw, one screw, you put your camera in, you screw it in, you're good to go, right? And then when you're done, you just unscrew it. Nothing, you know, there's no little plate or anything like that. So think about that. You know, if you get a few tripods with plates, the problem is you're trying to figure out what plate goes to what tripod. And I've run into that trouble. So I try to avoid these as much as possible. I think I only have one of that. On my photo, I've got a big, large plate. It's just square rectangular plate, so I know where that plate goes. So, you got a tripod, you got this one. The next thing you should get, these things are really cheap. I bought this one for 25 bucks on Craigslist, this guy was selling. And the thing about these is you screw your camera on there. Hold on one second. Is you screw your camera on here, right? And you got your food already done, and you can do that slider shot with this, going across real slow, right? You've seen those shots, right? So you can use that with this thing. The neat part, well, the other part about this one here is you can see it's, you know, it's got graduations there, and you can turn the wheel here, and let's say you have your plate here. Well, now you can do that slider shot going around the plate. Right? It gets a really cool shot. So try and get one of these. It's just, I'm not too sure what they're called. It's just a little rollery thing, you know. You'll see them online. They're really cheap. So the other thing, if you want, I found this thing. This is a Monopod. And this is a Bogan Manfrotto. And essentially what it is just a single leg tripod, extends out. That way when you put on the ground, and let's say you want to do a slider shot, you can, let's see, let's take this down here, maybe one more. Okay, you could do this anywhere, but let's say you got your camera, you can, you know, you've seen a lot of people with their camera, they're shaking as they're coming in or out. Well, this helps you get that flow better, right? You can come in and out, and you don't need these big expensive sliders. You can do it with this thing. So this is a monopod, and again, the price varies on these. I think I picked this one up at Craigslist for 20 bucks. It's not that fancy, it's just something really simple. And, you know, if you're going to get into this, you know, these are kind of fun to have. Plus, you know, you can use it, you know, vacation or whatever. You don't need to carry a big, heavy tripod. So you get those steady shots. So we talked about these little tripods. We talked about these two here, right? And then we talked about our little car here. And of course, the monopod. Now, the last thing is that you probably want to get one of these things. And what you do is it unscrews, and you got a little clamp there, right? So you can clamp it on the edge. And you know, of course, this moves around any position you want. You put your camera here on the end, right? It's clamped on, and you can get into, you know, any angle you want if you need be. I used this one time, and I had my door in my cabinet open, and I had this clamped on, and I got a shot coming down this way. You know, what the heck, you know, it worked and it looked great. So something like this is kind of handy. These are around 29, 39 bucks, something like that, depending on the quality. Get a good one, because you're going to really be clamping down into this hard to hold it steady. If you buy a cheap one made out of plastic, the gears will strip, and next thing you know, you bought something from China for nothing. So get a good metal one. Okay, let's get into the big stuff. Okay, the next tripod you want to get is something with a boom on it. You know, you can see you can lift it here. You're going to put your little, there's a bracket that you can buy, but you know, attach your camera here, and of course you can point it anywhere. You may want to hold something down like a sandbag. They sell sandbags for this. To hold it down so it doesn't fall, you know, doesn't fall over. Or you can buy some weight here in the back, like you would see, like musicians use. To keep it in balance. So you want to make sure, be aware of that, you know, if you buy one of these. So this is one you can get. This one also extends out, in and out, you know, and you can buy this at a music store. So I got something like this. The other tripod that I got was this one. This is another metal one. This one's pretty beefy. And I got this one a long time ago. As a matter of fact, I gave it to my son-in-law, and I realized that this tripod is heavy duty enough to put my, I got a jib, and to get, you know, those, so you get those camera shots when you raise it, the camera's always at the same spot all the time. So, you know, I would put it on this tripod. This one here is, you know, there's no levers for you to crank. All it is, you know, you do this motion to extend the legs, and it's really fast. It's not that heavy, it's all aluminum. And again, it's got the little screw here so you can screw in your camera. It doesn't have that plate. So I was really lucky to get this. I found this one for 25 bucks, again, on Craigslist. So there's that one. The other tripod that I use 80% of the time, believe it or not, is this thing. And it's another mic stand. It's got this gooseneck attachment to it. And you can only imagine the kind of shots I can get with this, you know. The only problem is that if I need to do something short, like when I do my car videos, this really doesn't work very well. But for shooting cooking videos, I mean, you're within this height, you know, over your stove. You can move it around. You can do whatever you want. So again, I use this a lot. I'm glad I bought it. The first tripod, good tripod that I bought was this one. And when I first got into video, I wanted to make a movie, you know. And so this one here has a fluid head, and you can adjust this any way you want. And of course, this has that plate that I was telling you about. So this is $300–400. I don't use it a lot, but I'm going to be using it a lot one day. And the next tripod that I got is this one. It's essentially like that one earlier that I showed you. Again, it's aluminum, it's light, but the neat part about this one, it has got wheels. And hopefully, you know, when I get a studio one day, I'll be able to use this. So I've got more tripods. I could probably bore you with the subject of tripods, but essentially these are some of the basic ones that I use. Again, you can never have too many tripods. Okay, so next we're going to talk about lighting. Now I got a lot of lights here, but don't let this again intimidate you. If you don't have any lights, you can use your window lighting, you can use a lamp, whatever you have in the house. Take some sample shots and to see what your subject is going to look like. It's either going to be the food or you. So, you know, play around with some lighting that you have existing already. What you want to do is open up, you know, your windows, your blinds, and see what kind of lighting you have in your kitchen and see how it looks. So do some practice, play with the lighting. So again, you really don't have to have any of this stuff. Now, when I started shooting some videos, obviously I got some lights, and one of the first things I was using was something like this. Okay, it's just, you can get this at Home Depot. They come with a big dome. Some of them you can pick these up for like $5, you know, $10. So there's nothing wrong with using that. And of course, I also use the lamp. The other thing I found on Craigslist was these lights, and these were kind of cool. You know, it's got a bulb in it, you plug it in, and these, you know, get pretty hot. There's a little fan in them. They kind of make noise a little bit, so you want to be careful using these so it doesn't get into your sound. Again, here's another one here. I picked this up for 20 bucks. So then I started to get into something a little bigger. You can see this one here has, you know, 5 lights. It's got 5 switches in the back. So here, so, you know, you can put as many bulbs as you want and get it as bright as you want. And then I kind of got into these boxes here, as you can see. And these nowadays you can get pretty cheap, believe it or not. There's one there, and then there's this one here that I use a lot. I'll use this one off to the left here. I took it down so you guys could see it. This also has, you know, 5 switches. There's 5 bulbs in there. Again, you can get it as bright as you want. But the thing that I wanted to show you was these LED lights. They're small, they're compact. You can plug them into the wall, or you can, you know, put a battery in them, and, you know, they get as bright as you want. This is the older version of it. God, where's the, oh, here it is, right in front of me. Okay, now they got these ones that are really skinny, and, you know, of course it's got a battery, or you can plug it in the wall also. And, you know, you turn it on, and you can adjust, again, the, let's see, here we are. You can adjust it down all the way if you want. Huh. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, you can adjust, you know, the brightness, and it also has a digital readout in the back, so you can remember how, you know, bright the Kelvin you want on this thing. And, you know, these things can come big, you know, and these things get, you know, pretty big too. I bought this one about 2 years ago. I picked it up for 70 bucks. But if you go online, there's some on Amazon. They're a little bit bigger, and obviously they're more brighter. It comes with a tripod. It comes with a tripod and some barn doors, and it runs about 130 bucks. And I think you get 2 of them too. So anyway, you may want to check this out. The other thing too is you can get something small like this. This one has a battery. You clamp it on your camera, and, you know, you got light. So when you're shooting, obviously with some lights, one of the things you want to think about is look up 3-point lighting. There's a lot of information on that subject, and it's basically talks about having 3 points of light. You've got a key light, like right now what I have, and you have 2, one in the back, one off to the, well, I'll have one off to the side here. What I'm using here is these ceiling lights. So you want to, you know, 3-point lighting is what you want to look up. The other thing is Rembrandt lighting. That gives you more of a dramatic effect depending on what you're shooting or how you want to shoot your video. So this is kind of, you know, the stuff that I have. I've got more lights in the garage. I've got, I don't know, probably about 10 lights. You could pick these little packs up, since we're talking about 3-point lighting. Pick up something like this. It's got 3 lights in it for about 90 bucks on eBay. So, okay, so this is it for the lighting. Okay, so next we're going to talk about sound. If you're shooting with your cell phone, obviously if you have the camera back and you're talking, it's going to sound like you're in a tunnel. What you could do is buy a mic like this. Of course, you know, it's got a long wire to it. You plug it in your cell phone, you clip the mic onto your lapel, and it'll sound a lot better. There's an apps that you can get for your cell phone to do this. So that's one way of doing it. The other way is a shotgun mic. Plug it into your camera. Obviously your camera has to have a mic input. Plug it in your camera, and this is more directional. That way you get, you know, just the sound within this area here. And this is the second method that I was using there for a while. The other method was, before I had a camera that you could plug a mic into it, what I had to do was get like a field monitor, they call them. This one here is a Zoom H4n. And you can look it up on YouTube. These are really easy to use. And what I did is I used this mic plugged in, and of course it was on my lapel. You know, every time I started the video, I have to clap, and that way I can sync in editing. That was kind of a hassle for a while. You get used to it, but you know, it's what I had to do. Now what I have is these wireless mics. There's different kinds of mics out there, wireless mics. The part of it is, I think what I would watch out for is how many feet can you stand away from your camera while you're recording, and also the frequencies. What I'm using here is a Sennheiser, and they run brand new about 600 bucks, but you can find them on eBay really cheap for about, you know, 300 bucks, somewhere in there, 275, 300, depending on, you know, the quality. But these are really good, and you know, here I've got it, you know, on the side here, you know, plugged in, and I've got the mic, and you know, so this is the transmitter, so it's transmitting to the camera, and you'll have the other one, you know, kind of plugged into the side of your camera there, and then you'll plug it into the camera, and that's how I do my sound right now. Now, if you if you don't have any of this stuff, you know, I would say try and get this, that way you can at least plug it in the camera. Hopefully you have a camera that you can plug in the sound. Again, you don't have to have this, but let me just unplug the mic here, and you'll see what it sounds like without one. Okay, so that's with the mic off, or at least the wireless mic's off, and this is what it sounds like just with the camera far away with the mic on the camera on, and you'll get that big room sound. It sounds like sometimes it's an echo depending on where you're at. So this may not be important to you. I find that it sounds a lot better with a wireless mic, or you know, put one of these mics in your cell phone with the app, and it'll sound a lot better. Now, you don't have to do this. If you're just shooting, let's say like Tasty does, they have an overshot view. It's you making the food. You got there's some text with some ingredients. If you're not going to talk, it's not a big deal. You got some music in the background. Then you know, you don't need anything like that. All you need is just a camera that shoots video. But for me, I need a lavalier mic. Okay, now I've got the lavalier mic back on, so you can see what kind of a difference the sound makes. So anyway, this is all my audio equipment that I've collected so far. There's a lot better stuff out there. Do your research. Go on YouTube and find out about this Zoom recorder. You know, this works. If you can afford the Sennheiser, I recommend the Sennheiser. There's some cheaper ones that you can buy, but of course, buyer beware. But if you don't have any money, go with the, you know, this cord mic, and you'll be really happy. Okay, so we've talked about cameras, we've talked about lenses, we've talked about tripods, we've talked about lighting, and we talked about audio. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is how I set up my cameras and lighting when I'm shooting cooking videos. But I just wanted to say, again, you really don't have to have all this stuff. You know, if you got a cell phone or a camera that can shoot sound, that'd be great. You don't need the mics. As I was thinking about this, there's this website, and I'll put it on the bottom. It's called De Mi Ranchito en Tu Casa. meaning in Spanish, from my ranch to your house. There's this little old lady that makes Mexican food, and all she has is it's probably a cell phone or a camera, and that's all she has. And she makes this, you know, Mexican food, and it looks outside. And this woman is getting like millions of hits, a couple of million hits in a couple of months. I saw one with 7 million, one video, 7 million within 7 months. She's got the subscribers. I mean, again, you don't have to have all this stuff. It's all about, you know, obviously what you're cooking, who you are, your personality. If you can get that across your video, you're gonna do just fine. Okay, with that, how I do my video, just an overview. What I've got is a beauty light over here, and I usually have a camera here at about 1, 2 o'clock, and that's where I'll have my GH3 here. Here's a video how it's actually set up. And with this camera angle, this is what it looks like. I have a boom, which I'll show you here, that I set on this side, and it comes across, and this is audio mic that you would find in a music studio. And I'll have a camera coming down here, and an overshot of whatever I'm cooking here. Here's the shot of the boom. You can pick these up for about $100. And this is what the overhead shot looks like. I have another camera on this side about 10 o'clock coming in this way, and you know, getting that overview shot here. And here's my Note 3 cell phone attached to a tripod. And here's what it looks like with this angle, but you can adjust it anywhere in your shoot. And then I'll have another camera sitting here. Sometimes, I don't do it all the time, but I have another one coming here in this area. Here's that bracket that I was talking to you about earlier, using my second Note 3 cell phone here. And you can see what that shot looks like. Again, you can adjust this anywhere in your scene. I'll install the bracket and the camera, but I'll move it out of the way until I need the shot. As it's cooking or whatever, I'll swing it out, adjust the camera, well, it's really my cell phone, just the cell phone, turn it on to start shooting the video, and it'll simmer or whatever, and I'll just get that angle shot. Once I'm done with the shot, you know, I'll move it out of the way, and then, you know, I'll just continue on. So I'll usually have 3 cameras set up at once. Now, the reason why I have 3 cameras is that once I start cooking, I don't want to stop. And I've seen a lot of guys, you know, they'll stop and they'll have to remake the dish to get that particular shot. I can't afford to do anything like that. As you know, to make these dishes, you know, it costs, obviously. So I need to, you know, just get all the shooting all at once. And that's kind of the advantage of how I shoot my videos, because it's just like making yourself dinner, except you got cameras on you. Then I can go back and edit out, you know, what I want, you know, of me talking, of the food itself, the overhead shot or an angle shot. And sometimes I'll, you know, go walk to the refrigerator and maybe get a shot out of that. But basically, it's all happening right here. Okay, so we talked about the cameras, we talked about the tripods, we talked about the lighting, we talked about the audio. And at this point, you're probably trying to figure out if you want to do cooking videos or not. If you do want to make a cooking video, while you're evaluating your equipment, how you want to do it, at the same time, go on YouTube and look at everybody's cooking videos, get some ideas on how they're doing it, the camera angles, actually how they're actually shooting the video, you know, the overhead, you know, either the overhead or some of the camera angles that they're using, and also what they're talking about as they're cooking their dish. If they're talking about the dish, are they talking about the technique? Just listen in and see what they're talking about. The other thing you also want to do is make a complete list of all the things that you think you know how to cook very well. Just make a long list, and then go ahead and sort it from the easiest to the hardest dish. And then at that point, break down each dish that you're going to do, each recipe, and write down all the ingredients that's needed to cook this dish that you want to put on YouTube. Because the last thing you want is to go to the store and then you come back, you forget something, now you're going back and forth. It's just going to create more stress. While you're doing that, also think about how many videos you want to do. If you want to do it to make money, that's one thing. If you want to do it just for fun, you can make a video once a month, once every couple of months. But if you're thinking about doing it to make money on YouTube, you probably want to seriously consider doing one a week at least, or one every couple of weeks, because it's going to take about a year for you to get monetized. Unless you're really fantastic about it and you do really well at it, you know, it could take you 6 months, but it's going to take some time either way. So think about how many videos you want to dedicate yourself into making these cooking videos. The other thing also is when you want to shoot them. You don't want to start making a cooking video 1 hour before your kids come home from school, or maybe on a Sunday night. The next day you got to go to work. What you want to do is, you know, cut out a slot of time so you can enjoy doing this, because the whole part about you doing this is to enjoy what you're doing, correct? So block out some time so you can have some fun, you know, really doing this. The other thing you want to think about too is when you're done cooking or shooting your video and you got the dish done complete, you want to figure out an area somewhere, it could be still on your stove too, but somewhere where you can put the dish down and take a picture of it. I call it the money shot. That picture is probably going to be on your thumbnail, and it's probably going to be at the end of the video also when you know, you're done with it. So, you know, when you're done cooking with it, people are going to look at it and say, wow, you know, that looks great, I want to make it. So think about an area that you want to put this down so you can set up some camera angles so you can get a really good shot of you know, what the dish looks like once it's done. One of the things you want to consider is the lighting in the area also. You know, are you going to use artificial lights or are you going to use natural lighting? The thing about natural lighting you want to consider is that you know, as the day moves on, the sun moves, so you're going to have different light as the day goes on. So think about that. I would strongly suggest artificial lighting. That's what I do, because I can shoot it at night, midnight, whatever, and it'll look great. But some people shoot it, you know, with natural light, and they can, you know, they already know exactly, I guess they have everything planned out just right. So once it's done, they got that perfect light that they want in the morning or in the evening. So think about that also. The other thing you want to do is what I'm doing now. As you can see, I've got a list here of things to remind myself what to talk to you about, is write this stuff down so you know exactly, you know, you got a list of, you know, like I said, the dishes you want to do and the ingredients it's going to take. Maybe some thoughts of what you want to say of that particular dish, or maybe a little story of, you know, how you learned how to cook this dish. So keep some notes on around so you have something to go by when you're ready to shoot your video. You're not sitting there like I did for the first time when I shot my first video. I got everything all set up. I was making scrambled eggs. I got everything ready to go. Everything was ready to go to shoot the video. And once I turned on the cameras, I remember just staring at the camera like, oh my God, what am I going to say? I never thought about that. So take some notes so beforehand you know what to say, you know, before you shoot the video. One of the other things I strongly suggest that you do is evaluate your kitchen. You know, does it look organized and clean? You know, I'm not saying you have to be a clean freak, but you know, see what's behind you, you know, and see what the audience is going to look at. What you want is the focus to be right here, okay? You're the talent, you know, or maybe the dish is, you know, all you're going to show, but look what's around and see what's laying around. Maybe, you know, might have to pick up, but keep it the same all the time when you come up. You know, if you're going to have a KitchenAid mixer off the side, you know, probably have it there all the time, but that way you set a standard when you're shooting your video and you don't have to think about it, you know, after your third or fourth. You're going to tell yourself, this is the way I shoot it, this is the way I do it all the time. The other thing is to look at your cooking utensils and see, you know, if they look clean, if they look bright and shiny. I've seen some stuff on there, it looks like they were digging a ditch and then they came and started cooking with it, so evaluate that stuff. The other thing too is the pots and pans that you're using. Do they have stains on the side and stuff? I know sometimes pots and pans can cost a lot of money, but believe me, there's some cheap ones out there that I picked up, you know, really cheap, so you don't have to spend a lot of money with that. One of the things I also want to mention is that when you're ready to set up and do, you know, you're ready to shoot your video and you're trying to do the prep work beforehand, on your bowls and stuff, as you put the ingredients in the bowls already pre-measured, right? Try and use some clear bowls, and that way your viewers can see actually what's in there, because, you know, obviously it's in clear bowls. those, to me, those are more appealing than just a regular color bowl, because once you pour it in, they don't know what's in there. You already have your ingredients already pre-measured in the bowl. You know, your viewer can already see what's in there, tomatoes, onions, whatever. So they don't, you know, it's just one more thing that they can see as you're cooking the dish. It just keeps them more, it's more visually pleasing, I guess is what I want to say. Okay, once you've done most of this stuff, you're getting really close to shooting a video. And so once you decide to shoot a video, what you want to do first is to set up all your equipment first, okay? And maybe, you know, get your utensils out, just kind of, you know, pre-set it up. And then turn your camera on and make sure everything's working. The other thing you want to think about too is make sure all your batteries are charged, you know, the night before. That way you're not, you know, like I've done it millions of times, trust me. You know, I'm shooting a video, all of a sudden the camera says, hey, you know, the battery's dead. So now I got to wait for a battery. So make sure everything's charged up, maybe even buy some extra batteries. So anyway, once you got everything set up, go ahead and shoot a sample video, you know, and go to your computer, see what it looks like, look at the background, see what you're wearing, make sure that all the cooking utensils look great. Okay, so at this point, you got, you know, you're happy with the sample video that you did. You looked in the back, you got you know, you got everything ready. At this point then, I would take your ingredients out and start setting up, okay? Start measuring, pouring, get everything warmed up that you need to get warmed up. And then if you got anything that you need to chop, you probably want to set a camera and just specifically do that short little video, I call it B-roll, I guess, and just do some chopping or whatever you do, pouring, you know, measuring, you know, hand measuring, you know, get that all done, because what you want to do is just cook when you're, you know, when you're ready to shoot. Once you've got all that done, go ahead and turn your camera on and then just start cooking. And like I said before, I like to just go ahead and just cook, get everything all shot up at once. That way, you know, it's fluid. I don't stop. If I do make a mistake, I go ahead and correct it on the fly and then just go ahead and, you know, edit it out, you know, when I'm doing my video editing. And you can clean all that stuff up in the end. Okay, again, a reminder, once you're done with your dish and you've got it plated up and it's steaming and it looks hot or, you know, whatever, you know, it looks good, right? That's when you pick it up and take it to the area that you're going to get that money shot. You know, you've got everything already set up, ready to go, because what you don't want to do is start fidgeting with something. Meanwhile, the thing's getting cold, and then when you do take a picture of it, it just doesn't look right? Because you want that thing still piping hot and steaming. So when your viewer looks at it, they're going to go, oh my God, that looks good. You know, hey, hey Margaret, why don't we make this tonight? You know, that kind of a thing. That's what the kind of effect you want when you're shooting your cooking video. Okay, so now you're done with your video and you're really happy with it. You got your money shot and you're all done. What you want to do is think about what you're going to say in the closing. Again, look at what everybody else does. Think of something unique. Remind the people what your channel's name so they can go back and, you know, of course, you know, they'll remember it. But one of the things you want to say in the end is to say, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's just one thing to help you grow in your YouTube channel, because the more views that you have, the more likes, the more they subscribe, the more YouTube will promote you in your cooking video. All right, so that's just about, you know, everything right now that I can tell you about how I shoot my video. I hope this was really informative. I hope I didn't confuse you, and I hope I didn't chase you away, because really this is really fun to do, and I hope you're able to do it one day. So good luck in your, you know, your future cooking channel that you're going to make. And if you got any questions, just, you know, leave them on the bottom. I'll put as much information as I can on the bottom. And, you know, stay tuned, because in the future I'm going to do, you're going to see actually how I edit one of my cooking videos on the software that I have, and I'll explain it, all that to you. But in the meantime, again, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you. Bye. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was very informative. Please check out my other how-to videos. Oh, and check out my new website. There's new items being put in there every day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, hit the bell. Until then, we'll see you at my next video. Bye.